What's going on, everybody? I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller. So guys, today I wanted to cover a topic that I think's pretty interesting because it can get a bit complicated. Pun actually intended, because we're going to be talking about watch complications here in a little bit. But also, this has to do kind of with some pie in the sky ideas. And here's where the disclaimer comes into play. Okay, I would love to see Microbrands pull off what I'm about to talk about, because again, you've read the title of this episode. We're going to be talking about the future of Microbrands. But I also understand, by definition, microbrands are small businesses, and some of the things that I'm going to be talking about today require a lot of working capital, and they're going to be really difficult for a small business like a average, small microbrand to pull off. So, yeah, we can still look forward, hopefully, and we can still have high hopes, but we also maybe should temper our expectations with, some reason. So there's the disclaimer. Let's get into the episode. It's 1:34 p.m. Let's get down to business. Alright guys, so speaking of microbrands, I'm actually wearing one on my wrist today, my Boulder Expedition, and this is the Mount Sinai. I really love the contrast between that kind of matte black and that really, really bold orange. Again, this is one of those watches that I seem to be okay with that 4 o'clock date window. Boulder seems to pull it off very nicely. I judge watches on a watch-to-watch basis, so sometimes I see 4 o'clock date windows and I think they're absolutely hideous. With this watch, I think it's okay. And yeah, the one complaint I have over this version 2 Expedition over the version 1 is they got rid of the compass bezel, and instead they went for much more of a super compressor look where it's actually a timing bezel inside. So this is probably more, usable day to day. You're probably going to be timing things more than you would be like navigating things, but this is a field watch at the end of the day, so I'd love to see them, utilize that compass bezel. But, I love the watch. I can also be honest and say that that was a downside. Okay, so what are my future expectations for microbrands as a whole? What would I love to see in the future? Well, first up, gotta talk about movements. That's right, I would love microbrands as a whole to start stepping away from the Seiko Instruments NH35 automatic movement. Now guys, here's the deal. I'm not saying that movement is bad. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. I'm just kind of sick of it. I'd love to see them do something else. And guys, you know what? While I'm complaining about that Seiko Instruments NH35, I'm going to go ahead and throw the Solitas in there as well. This has a Solita SW200, and yeah, it seems like it's either or. You're either getting a more affordable Seiko NH35 powered microbrand watch, or you're getting a bit more expensive Swiss Solita powered microbrand. And I just love to see them kind of venture away from those. Ooh, Boulder Venture reference. Not wearing that one right now. And by the way, guys, although I've brought up Boulder a couple times and I'm wearing one on my wrist, I'm not referring to Boulder specifically. I'm talking about, the future of microbrands as a whole. So it's funny, with any microbrand company, you're often choosing from either a Seiko NH35 or a Solita SW200, and then maybe for some like really affordable ones, you get a very basic Miyota. But yeah, there's just too many watches coming out from these microbrands with too many similarities in regards to the movements. The one watchmaker who's pretty much not a microbrand at this point, I kind of consider them more of an independent watchmaker, so they have a bit more resources than your average small microbrand. Chris Ward, they're actually doing a good job with these sourced movements. So they're still using bases like the Solita SW200, but they're putting in the extra time and resources to start modifying these movements, and they give us really cool modules like that jump hour module and that moon phase. So, these companies like Chris Ward are actually trying to do more and give us more complications while still giving us some added value there. So you're stretching your buck a bit further. So yes, is a Chris Ward much more expensive than, say, a Boulder? Let's just talk about Boulder again. Yes, absolutely. They're much more expensive than Boulder, but they're also giving us really cool complications. Again, like that jump hour, like that moon phase, both of which I've reviewed here. And while we're speaking about complications, that's kind of the next thing that I want to talk about. I wish the future of Microbrands would offer us some more complications. Yes, I love date complications, okay? I've said multiple times, I've been on YouTube for, going on 3 years. I think the date complication is probably the most useful complication a watch can have every day. However, why can't we get something else? It's like, okay, date complications, chronographs with that Seiko VK64 Mecha Quartz. It's like, I'm sick of that movement too. Give me a Microbrand with a proper GMT complication. Or is it too much to ask for like a proper world time? And I know what you're thinking, like, okay, GMT, world time, those are kind of the same thing, right? T3, well, no, I want a Microbrand to give us a proper tool watch with a tough, rugged exterior and a GMT complication. And then I'd love to see maybe a dress watch with a proper world time layout, the whole map on the dial. I'd love that. Which brings me to my next point. No more divers, okay? Microbrands. It's like, I know this from doing Microbrand Monday literally every week. There's just a hyper consistency when it comes to producing dive watches. Let's try to pool some resources and give us something else. That was actually, did you see what I did there? I said no more divers, and then I said we need to pool our resources. So it's kind of, man, I impress myself every day. But all jokes aside, it's like, okay, dive watches are cool and I go through phases with my collection, but I'd love to see more dress watches. Seems like that is a big hole in the Microbrand watchmaking community. It's like, we get tool watches in all various forms, whether it be a dedicated diver or maybe like a really tough tool field watch, like what Boulder tends to produce. But I would love to see a very, very elegant dress watch. Make it happen. One of you guys out there, I'd love to start reviewing more dress watches during Microbrand Monday. Which brings me to perhaps the most controversial of what I'm about to say, alternate materials, okay? And this is, I don't know the most controversial, but definitely the most difficult and the tallest ask for a Microbrand to pull off. And I'm talking about like things other than stainless steel. So maybe more titanium offerings. I know that we are starting to see a bit more titanium watches come out from Microbrand watchmakers, but what about precious metals? Again, I know these are not going to be the affordable Microbrands, but it would be fun to see some high-end Microbrands that are offering us precious metals. I would love to see enamel dials. I would love to see, really delicate porcelain pulled off like maybe a Creeder, but again, on a different scale. But I know the second I said that, like a bunch of you guys are just rolling your eyes, and I get it. That is a very, very tall ask. That is something that takes a lot of money for the watchmaker to produce. So I don't know if we're gonna be seeing that in the near future, but I'd love to see it. And finally, something I would love to see in the very near future, like starting immediately, would be to add value outside of just limited edition marketing. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're going to bring a watch to market, okay, and this isn't just for Microbrands, this is for all watchmakers, but again, I think I see this a lot with these Microbrand Kickstarters and with a lot of their media kits and stuff. They want to market their watches as limited edition pieces. They're limited. Did you know they're limited to this amount? It's like, okay, you better be bringing more value to the table outside of the additional cost associated with that limited edition branding. I'm just not interested in it. I don't like it when Omega does it. I absolutely detest it when Seiko does it. So what makes you think that I'm gonna like it when you do it? That doesn't mean that just because a watch is marketed as a limited edition, it's terrible and I hate it. I'm just saying that that specific facet of that watch, I could just absolutely live without it. So I understand these Microbrands, again, kind of by definition, they don't make large quantities of their watches, but marketing and spending all that time and effort marketing the watch as a limited edition, as if it's going to bring me more added value, I just don't care. I'm gonna be honest, I don't care. So in summation, guys, and I know this is a rant, but it's also kind of a list. We're releasing this on Friday though, so we're just gonna say it's a rant. In summation, This is what I want from the future of microbrands. I want to see them diversify their movements, so like definitely stepping away from the Seiko Instruments NH35 and Solitas. I want to see more complications. I want to see things other than divers and tool watches. I want to see alternative materials, whether it be, again, on the dial or for the case. And I want to see some added value aside from the additional costs associated with limited edition marketing. So guys, hopefully you have done a little bit of homework while you watch this episode, and I'd love to see you send me that list in the comment section of what you would like to see from the future of Microbrand watchmakers, and maybe these watchmakers can read that comment section and get some pointers, maybe some tips. Maybe they will be inspired by us asking for other things, because guys, when these watchmakers actually put their ears to the ground and listen to the consumers, that's us, then they'll sell more watches, and then they'll be happy and we'll be happy. So please, you Microbrand watchmakers, because I know for a fact you watch my channel, pay attention to this episode and give us something we want, yeah? All right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and again, I would love to hear what you think, so please leave me those comments, and I think it would actually be really beneficial for the watch world as a whole, so please type away. And if you really enjoyed this episode and you want to go above and beyond supporting the channel, please click that join button next to that subscribe button. It's $4.99 a month, and it's essentially YouTube's Patreon. You get extra content every week. You get access to that members-only Discord chat, and again, it's probably my favorite part about this channel because we hang out every week. It's just that members community is ridiculous and fun and hectic and silly, and it's just, again, my favorite part of the channel. So definitely, I would love to see you there. Check out all the affiliate links in the description below, and you click those Amazon affiliate links, excuse me, you do help me out a bunch, and it's kind of the one-stop shop for the watch collector there in the description. And then also, if you go above to the top of the description, you can see a little website called www.thetimetellershop.com, and that is my personal website, the #1 place to find affordable vintage luxury watches. And yeah, they're all hand-picked by me, and they're all really, really cool, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff there, so check out the website and support the channel. All right, guys, well, thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope your weekend is amazing, or whenever you're watching this, stay happy, stay healthy, stay blessed. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller, and always remember, I didn't invent time, I just tell it.